What's going on, guys? Sam Adams here and welcome to another episode of The Drop. I was on vacation last week. You guys probably didn't even know unless you watched last Wednesday's video. Very proud of that. Check out all of the content I uploaded. But as for this week, I consider it to be kind of the kickoff of all of the big fall gaming releases because we do have Starcraft Remastered, almost all of the editions of Sonic Mania, on top of a couple of other games that I think are pretty interesting. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into it. So starting things off, we have Starcraft Remastered coming, of course, to the PC. Starcraft Remastered upgrades the essential sci-fi strategy experience from beginning to end. Welcome back to the original game and its award-winning expansion, Starcraft Brood War. We've remastered our units, buildings, and environments, improved game audio, and broadened our supported resolutions. Illustrated interludes bring the struggles and victories of heroes like Artanis, Phoenix, Trasadar, Raynor, and Kerrigan. Wow, I probably butchered those. To life like never before. Most importantly, the strategy gameplay that StarCraft perfected years ago remains unchanged. So as far as this one goes, I don't really have an opinion either way. I never played StarCraft, or at least the original StarCraft, because I was too young for it whenever it came out, which definitely shows the game's age. But with that being said, I like what they've done with the remaster in that they haven't completely and totally gutted the entire experience and made it look like a brand new game that would come out in 2017. It definitely still has that classic aesthetic that people grew to love with the original StarCraft. One thing I do want to point out is that not only have the looks been remastered, but the audio as well, like I said in the description, and that's a big thing for me because on my mind, looks and audio are pretty much on the same level because that is kind of how your experience is shaped. What you are seeing on the screen is directly impacted by what your ears are taking in through your headphones or speakers, and so to hear that both of these have been touched up and brought up to at least somewhat modernized appearance and sound is something that I think is a fantastic addition to the remaster. This game is going to be $15 at launch. For those that grew up playing StarCraft or played StarCraft whenever they were in college back in the day or whatever their situation might be, $15 is a very low risk investment to get a lot of nostalgia and a lot of hours of gameplay, especially considering that it does have fully fleshed out multiplayer and things along those lines, instead of just restricting you to a LAN party, although it does have that feature as well. The other group of people is going to be that group that didn't get to experience StarCraft back in the day, which I am a part of. You know, those that were too young, maybe they were just getting into gaming where they didn't really care about StarCraft, but they were still playing games. That kind of group is definitely going to take advantage of this because, again, it's a low-risk investment, and you can see what all the hype was about that got StarCraft started in the first place and grew it to be the kind of franchise it is today. So if you are interested in StarCraft Remastered, you can pre-purchase it now, but it is coming out this week on the PC. Next up, we've got Matterfall for the PlayStation 4 coming from Housemarque, which is a fantastic studio. As a hero for hire, survive high-intensity side-scrolling war zones in vertical cities overrun by mysterious smart matter. Weaponize alien tech to destroy enemies infected by deadly red matter and control blue matter to manipulate the world and forge the path forward. Combat enemies with a variety of powerful high-end weapons, perfect your performance in levels to rack up a higher score than your friends, witness awe-inspiring visuals as matter flows, glows, and explodes around you. That was a very satisfying sentence. Created by arcade experts Housemarque, makers of Resogun and Alienation. Resogun is the one that I preferred, but Alienation is still pretty good. So whenever I started looking into Matterfall and saw that it was made by Housemarque, I was kind of expecting something of a top-down dual-stick shooter. That's just kind of what I expect from Housemarque, but then I remembered they made Resogun, and then I kind of, started thinking, and I was like, wow, this might actually be something different, and lo and behold, it totally is. Of what I can gather from the trailer and watching some gameplay, pretty much the premise behind this game and its big selling point is that it is a 2D side-scrolling platformer, but blue matter can be used to manipulate the world and red matter can be used to destroy enemies and parts of the world around you, so it does switch up the gameplay and makes it a little bit more complex than just your standard Mario style or Rayman style platformer. Admittedly, with that being said, with Matterfall, it just doesn't seem like there is much else there that is really a big drawing point. I'm sure it's going to be a fantastic game. Housemarque doesn't make bad games, in my opinion. But I will say that this just seems like a platformer from Housemarque. So if that sounds like something you might be interested in, if you are a fan of Housemarque, if you like their kind of aesthetic, then you are probably going to like Matterfall, which again is coming to the PlayStation 4 later on this week. Next up, we've got Agents of Mayhem coming to the PlayStation PlayStation 4, the Xbox One, and the PC. Agents of Mayhem is the new open-world game from Volition, the studio that brought you the Saints Row franchise. Play as a cast of unique and diverse super agents from all over the world and lead them in Mayhem's epic fight to save the city of Seoul from the destructive schemes of the evil supervillain organization, Legion. The world has fallen under the rule of Legion, the League of Evil Gentlemen intent on obliterating nations. This supervillainous cabal of criminal masterminds and costumed megalomaniacs, Jesus, need to be stopped at any cost. Okay, so Agents of Mayhem, let's talk about this one. It is pretty much going to be Saints Row without Saints Row in it, of what I can gather. Now, there is a main story that is supposed to take about 20 hours, but outside of that, there's this big open world sandbox for you to explore, and I'm sure there are going to be tons of destructible fun things you can do in it. Overall, I like the idea behind Agents of Mayhem, where it is set in the Saints Row universe, but it is not a Saints Row game, and I think it is going to bring kind of a new life into that universe, because with Saints Row 3 and Saints Row 4, it just seems like things have been getting a bit stale because people know what to expect. For a lot of people, Saints Row is the quirky cousin to Grand Theft Auto. It just seems to be kind of the out there version of that game, and so with Agents of Mayhem coming out, I think it's going to kind of redefine Volition. I think it's going to kind of redefine the Saints Row universe and keep that same insanity kind of thing going that they've had with Saints Row 4 and Saints Row 3, but also add a bit of new direction to the equation. I would definitely check out some gameplay before going out and getting this one, but if you are interested in it, it is coming out on the PlayStation 4, the Xbox One, and the PC this week. Next up, we've got Sonic Mania coming out on the PlayStation 4, the Xbox One, and the Nintendo Switch, and then later on the PC on August the 29th, because that version of the game wasn't completely done, a decision I 100% support, but a brand new classic Sonic experience. 2D Sonic is back in an all-new adventure. Play as Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles as he race through all new zones and fully reimagined classics, each filled with exciting surprises and powerful bosses. Harness Sonic's new drop dash, Tails' flight, and Knuckles' climbing abilities to overcome the evil Dr. Eggman's robots, discover a myriad of never-before-seen hidden paths and secrets. This all-new experience celebrates the best of classic Sonic, pushing the envelope forward with stunning 60 frames per second gameplay and pixel-perfect physics. Welcome to the next level for the world's fastest blue hedgehog. Welcome to Sonic Mania. So essentially, this is a brand new classic Sonic game, which is something a lot of people are kind of like, you know, what? But you'll understand it does have classic maps included in it that have been brought up to modern day standards, but it also has brand new ideas that have been included. Kind of imagine a Sonic Greatest Hits, but with a couple of new maps thrown in. Personally, I'm excited for the Nintendo Switch version and have been for quite a while, but I am glad to see it is coming out on the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One as well, and then on the PC on August the 29th because, like I said, that one needed a couple of more weeks of polish. So if you are a longtime fan of Sonic, Sonic Mania is probably going to be a fantastic game for you, or if you are wanting to jump into Sonic for the first time, I would say this is a pretty good place to jump in because there are a lot of crappy Sonic games out there, but this one doesn't seem to be one of them, and if you are interested, it is coming out this week on the PlayStation 4, the Xbox One, and the Nintendo Switch, and then later on PC on August the 29th. Next up, we've got Nidhogg II coming out on the PlayStation 4 and the PC, which is a very strange sequel to a game because these two games, Nidhogg and Nidhogg II, are so completely different, in appearance at least. I think gameplay is pretty much the same, but they just look completely and totally like separate games from different developers even. But outsmart your opponents with all kinds of weapons in this life or death tug of war that ends in the belly of a flying worm. The next installment of the epic award-winning dueling tug of war is coming. Stab, shoot, slice, or stomp your opponent to gain control of the screen, then book it to your side of the arena. Before long, a new opponent will appear in your way. If they kill you, they get control. Get all the way to your end of the arena to win and be devoured by the Nidhogg, that's the flying worm. Enjoy new monstrous visuals by artist Toby Dixon and Bangin' Beast from Muxmool, Deadliest, Dose 1, and more. So with Nidhogg 2, I'm glad to see that the same kind of gameplay is there whenever you are looking at the gameplay because it does have those core mechanics with a couple of new bells and whistles thrown in and a ton of new weapons, which I'm very excited about. But as far as aesthetics go, this looks completely and totally different from the original Nidhogg, which is something I'm kind of happy about. The original Nidhogg was pretty much just a black background with a dueling couple of pixel men right there in the foreground, and that was the essence of the game. I mean, it really wasn't that complex. It was an indie by all stretches of the definition of the word indie. But with that being said, Nidhogg 2 going forward is taking that same kind of 16-bit-esque aesthetic and adding a ton of color, adding a ton of monsters, adding a ton of new artists to the mix, adding some awesome music. You are getting a lot of stuff added to the game to make Nidhogg 2 where it has that same kind of DNA, but a ton of new content that's definitely going to be more appealing to somebody that's just perusing through the PlayStation Store. So to wrap it up, if you were a fan of Nidhogg 1, you should definitely look at some gameplay before you go out and buy Nidhogg 2. Don't just assume it's the same kind of game as the original, because it is very much so not, but it looks like the kind of game that could be a big hit. I'm pretty excited to see how it's received by fans later this week. And to wrap things up, we've got Undertale coming to the PlayStation 4 and the PlayStation Vita. A small child falls into the underground where monsters have long been banished by humans and are hunting every human that they find. The player controls the child as they try to make it back to the surface through hostile environments, all while killing or sparing the monsters that they encounter along the way through a turn-based combat system with bullet hell elements and other unconventional game mechanics. So Undertale was originally released on the PC back in 2015, and it was pretty well received because it is a very strange kind of game. It's very explorative, and you don't have to actually kill anything you come into contact with. At its core, it is not for everyone. Undertale is very much so the definition of a turn-based combat game, and I'm talking a classic like 90s aesthetic turn-based combat game, but the dialogue and the way the game plays does make it very much so more appealing than your standard kind of turn-based combat game from the 90s, or at least the way they would hold up today. So to wrap it up with Undertale, this game is not for everyone, but I do think it is going to go very well on the PlayStation 4 and especially the PlayStation Vita because the game seems to lend itself to playing on the go. It is such a simple kind of experience, but it is such an in-depth one and one that would definitely be appealing just to pick up for 10 or 15 minutes at a time and then pause. But with that in mind, if you are interested, it is coming out on the PlayStation 4 and the PlayStation Vita this week. And last but not least, a couple of honorable mentions to wrap things up. World to the West. I swear I've talked about this game at least 30 times from the makers of Teslagrad. You're probably familiar with it. It's coming to the Xbox One and to the PC. Cities Skylines is coming to the PlayStation 4. And Troll and I is coming to the Nintendo Switch. Do not buy this game. I would not recommend this one. This one is a giant turd sandwich. It is not good. So there you guys have it. I hope you have enjoyed this episode of The Drop. If you did, drop me a like down below, and if you are new to the channel, I do upload new stuff throughout the week, so there's always something new right here when you do stop by to watch some videos. And of course, as always, leave a comment down below letting me know what game this week was really appealing to you, if any of them. Have you been looking forward to Undertale for a long time? Have you been looking forward to Agents of Mayhem? Let me know in the comment section down below. But as for right now, I want to thank each and every one of you guys for watching this particular video. I will talk to you soon. Peace.